Welcome to those of you watching this on the replay. We've got some actionable stuff today for you that you're going to be able to take away. Norm's going to tell you about that here in just a second. And this is going to be a really, really cool webinar. So Norm, if you want to go ahead and take it, it's all yours.
All right. I'm just answering some people in here. So here we go. All right, everybody. Here we go again. Ranking isn't magic, it's optimization science. So today we're going to be talking about Rufus and Cosmo and how Amazon's AI changes everything you know about optimizing your products. So just a couple of notes, just a few more notes. This is so weird. So just a couple of notes on the replay or today's webinar. Everybody will receive a replay. It's going to be sent out by end of day tomorrow. So check your inbox and make sure you check your spam folder. A lot of times we get requests afterwards because people did not get the replay. It's usually hanging out in your spam folder. We're going to go through a brief intro, and then we're going to discuss Amazon Rufus and Cosmo and where it's going. We're going to talk about how to optimize your CTR in the AI world on Amazon and talk about your main image and the title AI optimization. Plus, on top of that, we're going to give away 4 bots that you're going to be able to use today. You can start using them immediately. And we're going to also talk about Juana's RICE framework, and you'll receive a free Amazon seller checklist. Now, this, if you're interested, you can join us next week. We have a 5-part challenge to optimize Amazon and Amazon for Cosmo and Rufus, and expect to be around for about 75 minutes.
Plus the 40 minutes they already were here waiting. So thanks again.
Yeah. I can't believe everybody waited for 40 minutes.
I can't either. That's impressive.
Okay, next slide, Kev. All right. In case you haven't heard, Kevin and I host a podcast called The Marketing Misfits. We sit down with business owners, entrepreneurs, marketers, people who think outside of the box to get results. These aren't your typical interviews. These are people who have built real businesses, solved real problems, and aren't afraid to challenge the status quo. So we've got over 70 episodes packed with insights to help you stay ahead of the curve and crush your competition. Like, we're talking about a lot of strategies that no one else is talking about. Nobody's even heard of. These are world-class minds that you've got to get to know. So tune into Marketing Misfits every Tuesday. And, maybe I'm a little biased, but trust me, I think you're going to love it. Okay, I want to talk brief again about another event that we do called the Collective Mind Society. Every year we hold an event. This year is going to be in the cigar capital of the world called, Tampa, Florida. If you're a cigar enthusiast or not, it's a 4-day, once-in-a-lifetime experience in Tampa with a group of successful, like-minded entrepreneurs and online sellers. We're going to hit some incredible cigar lounges, including the #1 lounge in the world, a private factory tour, and we're even going to do some hands-on rolling class, just to name a few things. So if you're interested in that, it's November the 6th to the 10th. We only have 22 people. We sell out every year. So if you want to join us, go to collectivemindsociety.com, minds with an S, and apply. Okay, Kev, take it away.
All right. Just real quick, I have BDSS 12 coming up. It's the virtual one. So this is the one where you don't have to travel. You can do it from anywhere in the world. It's in 3 weeks, August 19th to the 21st. I've got 15 amazing speakers. We do a smart contest, kind of like a hat contest. You get to speak with the speakers. We have some really cool content coming, a lot of AI related stuff. You can go to bdss12.com, bdss12.com, and you can get all the information. Tickets right now are about half the price of last year. So it's a really good deal. 2.5 days. The first day I do a keynote, and then I'm bringing on I think it's 12 of the Dream 100s, and we're doing a mastermind for you guys with 12 Dream 100 people, all in the same room at the same time, open-ended mastermind. It's going to be really, really cool. And then we have all the speakers. You can see the content, everything. You'll start getting a lot of emails from me over the next couple of weeks promoting this. So if you don't go there now, you can, but it's the 12th one. It's really good. We don't do this on Zoom. This is not pre-recorded like in some of these summits that people do. It's all live, and we do it in a special program called vFair, which is like it's like three-dimensional. It's really cool. It's almost like it's the next best thing to be in there. It's got breakout rooms, and it's a cool experience just to walk into to it virtually on your computer. You'll see for those of you that are joining us, but that's coming up in a few weeks. Now, I've also just launched something in beta 2 weeks ago, and you'll start seeing more about this as well in your emails. But it's called the Billion Dollar Sellers Club, or BDSC. And this is something I've started to where people that are fans of the newsletter, fans of what we do, what I do, can come in and talk. Amazon can talk marketing, can talk email lists, can talk AI, can talk whatever. I bring on every single week. There's a new presentation, one or masterminds. One time with me. Last week, I brought on three people like Dan Kurtz from the AI webinar that we did a couple weeks ago. That he always blows people's mind. I was taking notes. We had Lauren Petrullo in there. We had Melissa Vong. It was really, really good little mastermind. And these are all recorded. So if you can't make them live or if you're in a different time zone, I did a mastermind last week. Tomorrow we have Josh Hadley coming in and doing some really cool stuff. And the thing is, I pay the speakers to come on. So they don't do this for free. They get actually paid. So which means they got to deliver some A plus value. They can't just come on and like half-ass it. They got to deliver some stuff that they haven't talked about before. But if you join that, you can join it because it's in beta right now for just $9. And when you join that, you get a coupon for basically $500 that you can apply to any BDSS event, virtual or in person. So you could take that and immediately apply that to the virtual event and basically come to the virtual event for $9 for free if you want to, or you can hold on to that and you can use it down the road and use it for Market Masters or use it for Nashville next year or whatever you want to do. So this is a smart thing, and you can cancel anytime, but that's something you can check out. You can scan that QR code there if you're interested in that. Now, one of the things that we're going to be talking about today is this old phone. Now, Norm and I, we're old guys. We know what this thing does. We know how long it used to take to dial a number. You have to wait for this thing to spin all the way back around every time you dialed a number. That's basically what keywords are today. The future is Rufus, and that's what you guys are here for today. Rufus and Cosmo is the future, and that's what we're going to be talking to you about today. And it's a radical change in the way everything works. The underlying principles are the same, but the way it all works is totally different. And we have the top expert in the world probably on this from the Amazon point of view right now that's going to be showing you some tactical, actionable things you can do today. You don't got to buy anything to do these. You're going to learn it today. Now, if you don't believe this is actually happening, this is from 2 weeks ago from Prime Days. If you look here, the people that are my age, like Norm and I, about 17, about 20%, about 1 in 5 people have used Rufus. But if you look at the younger generation, almost half used Rufus on Prime Day. It's being used. It's here. It's been out for about a year, and it's picking up steam. And if you're not optimizing for it right now, you're missing out. And that's what we're going to show you today. Even Walmart just came out last week and said, hey, we're going all AI. And we're doing 4 big buckets, one for supply chain, one for our logistics, one for internal, one for sellers, and one for customers. And then there's one that's like a development one. And the CEO even said, hey, look, we don't think we're going to have a search bar on Walmart.com sometime within the next year or two. It's going to go away because we're going to go all to their version of Rufus, which is called Sparky. It works in a similar way. It's a slightly different. This webinar is not about Sparky. It's about Rufus, but a lot of the principles apply, and they're doing the same thing. So if you're not paying attention, it's whether you're selling on Walmart or not. This is where everything is going. Now, a lot of you might have been on a previous webinar where I talked about I just launched this content library. This is 100% free. You don't even need to give your email address to use it. You can scan that QR code or go to billiondollarsellers.media and check it out. But I curate every single one of my newsletters. So I send 2 newsletters a week for the last 2 years. I'm coming up on the 2-year anniversary, August 14th. And it'll be I've never missed one. So if you didn't get them, that means they're going to spam or you got kicked off because you quit opening them and I kicked you off. But you can find them all here in this and go back and read them. You can search by keyword. It has all the podcasts that Norm and I do, that I do on AM/PM podcast. It has all a lot of the webinars that we do. It has a lot of the other stuff we do. I just typed in Rufus on this one, and it pulled up you can see here 110, is that say 110 items in this database that have they're talking about Rufus. So you could go through and go deep on this stuff if you want to, or find very specific things. And so I scrolled through this Rufus ones. I'm not going to go over all these right now, but there's tons of stuff about Rufus that's in here. So like I said, you can go and you click, it'll take you straight to the video, straight take to the newsletter where it talked about it. I encourage people to use this. It's 100% free for all of you guys. Billiondollar sellers.media. Now, I'm going to turn this back to Norm, and Norm's going to tell you a little bit about Rufus and Cosmo. But Norm is muted.
All right.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I got that. And I just saw some questions coming through. If you do have questions, make sure you don't throw them into the comments section. Put them into the Q&A, and we'll talk about them at the end of the podcast or webinar. Okay, this is going to be a rapid fire. I'm just going to go through these slides. Rufus pulls the information to generate answers. Cosmo fills the semantic gaps, especially around buyer intent and contextual relevance. So when you optimize your listings, you have to optimize both. So keep that in mind. You need both. Cosmo is the new core of Amazon's relevance engine. It no longer relies only on keywords. It elevates meaning, context, and how well your content fills semantic gaps around buyer intent. If you're not aligned with Cosmo, you're invisible. Now, on the other hand, Rufus sits on top of that. It's not just a chatbot. It's shaping how products are surfaced, compared, and recommended. When a shopper asks a question, Rufus doesn't just pull at your bullet points. It pulls ranked information from your attributes, backend, and semantic structure. If your listing isn't aligned with both Cosmo and Rufus, you're not even going to be considered. So, what worked in 2022, 23, 24 does not work in 2025. Amazon is building its own understanding of your product without your help. If you don't take control of how your product is interpreted, guess what? Your competitors will. So on March 18th, 2024, the BDSN newsletter, Kevin's newsletter, there was an article about how Amazon is moving from keyword-based results to AI-driven intended-based search. Now, this is all thanks to Cosmo. This means that if your listing doesn't match the why, if your listing doesn't match the why behind the customer's search, it's like showing a beach towel sorry, guys, I'm still kind of frazzled over the repeating this again. I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to go back to this. All right. So this means if your listing doesn't match the why behind your customer search, it's like showing a beach style lifestyle photo for a sun umbrella. You could lose rank completely. In fact, the article went on to talk about people who are selling $5 million annually could lose it all. And they might be reduced to 500K if they don't pay attention to this. Amazon's AI is all about prioritized lifestyle data over listing optimization tactics, meaning your search visibility will depend on how well your product fits a shopper's entire profile rather than on how clever your keywords are. It's less about gaming the algorithm and more about relevance in real time. Okay, so Amazon Cosmo isn't just watching what people search, it's learning why they buy. So if a shopper searches for shoes for pregnant women, and that person ends up buying a slip-resistant pair, Cosmo now connects the dots. Pregnancy plus safety equals slip resistant. That whole new way of ranking products. And if your listing doesn't match the intent, guess what? You're out. Cosmos uses AI to turn user behavior into a huge knowledge graph that understands what your product actually does for someone. It's pulling the data from queries, purchases, reviews. It could be, you name it. It's layering its human feedback and filtering to refine what matters most. So, yeah, Amazon's getting incredibly good at knowing what buyers really want. And by the way, on the right-hand side, it's a pretty cool, simple graph of the Cosmo framework. So, everybody in the know is trying to get in on this, or they're already in on it. They know how important it is. So our buddy Max Sinclair, he came out back in June 6th, or no, he came out with this, in June 6th, 2024, AMZ Cosmo Audit. And so it was pretty cool. It came out, it was one of the first tools. And then we started to hear a lot of buzz and a lot of feedback and discussion. So our buddies Max and Vincenzo Toscano got into a really great debate over context versus keywords. So, as I mentioned earlier, Cosmo is shifting focus away from pure keyword optimization towards understanding buyer intent and why they want the product, not just what they typed. Keywords aren't dead, but context is king now. If you're not mapping your content to real customer needs, you're already behind. So I usually try to go. Well, I don't think I've missed a BDSS event, but in Hawaii in 2024, Vanessa Hung was talking about the importance of every Amazon seller to really get into this and to understand it. She went through Cosmos and she was trying just to stress the importance of making sure you understand it and adopt new strategies. Then a couple of months later, she was at the BDSS Market Masters, and she again just came up with new strategies and the importance, she reinforced the importance of how Amazon sellers have to adapt to this. Now, here's the deal. Amazon Cosmo is no longer about keywords. It's really about four things. You've got intent-based search, behavioral analysis, contextual relevance, integration into Amazon's ecosystem. So start thinking about Cosmo. Use story-driven images, pull insights from your reviews, focus on product attributes, and test often. If you're not adapting, you're invisible. So, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people in the know are not sitting on the fence, they're taking action. Earlier this year, Matt Costin came up with a five-part system to help sellers get recommended by Rufus. And on the right-hand side, you can see where Vanessa Hung came back and she just created three practical steps to optimize for Rufus. And that was just to test your listing with the Rufus scorecard, use ChatGPT to improve your copy, and then apply those changes. So a lot of people are still not using it. They're still not taking it serious. And why? Why aren't they taking this serious? Why are they hesitating to optimize for Rufus? There's no reason why they shouldn't be. Well, we looked into it and we think that there's probably three things. It's just a low adaptation rate. So not enough customers are using it yet. So people would rather follow, a year from now and let everybody else make the money. It's too complicated. People fear that, like they just fear change. Or it's the limited mindset, like training a new dog or an old dog, new tricks. And if you just kind of stay with the old tactics and just only do keywords only, well, guess what? You're going to be left behind. Early adapters are gaining visibility. Don't wait. And now over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, so that's just some background. Those are most of those clips that you just saw on the screen are from my newsletter. So we were on the cutting edge of this and been following this all the way through. And in January of this year, something came out. Danny McMillan messaged me and said, Kevin, we got something special. We're going to give you the first dibs to put it out first before we put it out. Me and Juana and Andrew, I was like, who's Andrew? Who's Juana? Uh, he's like, don't worry, you're going to be impressed. The three of us have been working since last year on this thing, and we got this 10,000 word document that we're going to release because we went to Amazon Science, and you can go there yourself, science.amazon.com. And a lot of times Amazon will put either what they're testing there or they'll put like what they're working on. And they found a paper there about Cosmo and Rufus and how they work together. And this stuff is in like gobbledygook to most of us. And it's like it would put us to sleep trying to read it. But they like got super excited, sat down, diagnosed the whole thing, figured out how this works, and created this chart that's over on the right and put out this whole thing about how it works. So that's why we have her here today, and she's going to show you some actionable stuff you can do here in just a few minutes with this. And she's like one of the top experts in this, and you'll see why even more here in a minute. But it's gone beyond just the contextual stuff that Norm talked about. It's now actually X-raying your pictures, and it's actually looking at your photos. So if you're like the example Norm gave of a beach umbrella, if you're selling umbrellas for the beach so people can stay out of the sun and not get sunburned, but you don't have a picture in your image stack of someone at the beach sitting under an umbrella so they don't get burned, you may not show up under the related beach related words. Or if someone in the new world is going to type in, "Hey, we're taking a trip to the beach. What do we need?" Your umbrella is not going to be suggested because it's out of context. The pictures are all showing it people in the rain. That's just one little example. But it's taken, and there's even a cool tip that'll be in my newsletter tomorrow about how you can kind of trick Rufus a little bit. Some people are playing with this and put something in your pictures to actually kind of like game the system. It's like a little hack. I'm sure it'll get shut down, but that's going to be in the newsletter tomorrow. But it's this stuff is happening now. And then in February of this year, we started hearing this little rumor about agents and people like shopping agents, and it started coming out. And I published a story on February 17th about it, where and Carrie Masters kind of broke this, where it's about agents are going to come out. And these agents are going to be talking to Rufus and to Cosmo, and they're going to be doing the shopping for you. And a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, whatever. Even though someone said 2025 is supposed to be the year of agents, Google CEO just recently said a couple of weeks ago, he said, no, 2026 is, and here's why. But it doesn't matter. It's on its way. And these agents are going to be actually talking to tools like Rufus and Cosmo and doing buying on your behalf. And then OpenAI in May basically turned into a shopping agent kind of behind the scenes where you could actually type in stuff and what's the best coffee maker or espresso maker, and it would actually show you and then link to your Amazon page or link to your Shopify store or Walmart or wherever. And so now it's like, oh shoot, people are like, now we got to talk to AI and we got to talk to humans. How do we do this? Well, Cosmo is part and Rufus are part of the answer to that. In understanding how they work, you can then apply it towards ranking on the frontier models like Claude and Perplexity and ChatGPT and Gemini and so on. And it's small right now, but the amount of conversions is way higher. Conversion rates, if you saw our webinar from a couple of weeks ago, are like can be 3,000% higher. It's way less traffic, but people trust these AI bots way more than they trust reviews or other stuff. And if you're not surfacing there and you're not talking to them, you're going to be missing out. This is who's participating now. This is not what this webinar is about, but I just want to emphasize that this is part of the knowing how Cosmo and Rufus work because they will play together. And so you have all these different engines over on the left-hand side that are at different stages right now of agentic shopping, where it's going to shop for you. You're going to say something like, "Hey, my family and I are going on a trip to Italy next February. What do we need?" And it's going to know based on your past searches, based on some data that you've inputted, maybe it's going to tie into Amazon, see what else you bought, and it's going to make all the suggestions, go do all the shopping for you, and say, "Here's a list, Kevin, of everything you probably need. Which one of these do you want me to buy for you?" And it's going to do it all for you. And that's coming. You can look on the right-hand side and see where we're at. We're not at the full autonomy yet. Comet just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's at level 4. Level 5, who knows? ChatGPT 5 is coming out. People are estimating any day now, early August or sometime in August is what the guess is. And people are saying this is like a huge step up from everything else that we know right now. And maybe it's going to have it in it. Maybe it's going to be half baked and it'll be fully baked by the end of the year. Who knows? It's coming. All I know is all these predictions that people are making in AI are never right because they're always predicting something's going to happen in 2029 and it happens in 2025. It's moving quick. Every day, some new tool comes out, and the next day is a better one comes out. So some people are saying, "Hey, is this the end of Amazon and Walmart as we know it?" And it may be. And you'll see here in a second, Amazon is not going to stand by. But going to there and searching by keywords, people still do it. You still have to optimize for that, but it's going away. Just like the Google CEO, the Walmart CEO said, "Hey, we probably won't even have a search bar in a year or two." Or it's going to be a tab on the right. It's like go to the old version, and people that are old school and just aren't going to change their ways, they'll go to the old version. But most people are going to be using this type of stuff. 0-click searches with no click. is big right now, and they're much more powerful than searches. The one click off a zero search click is worth more than like 20 clicks a lot of times off of a standard listing of blue links on Google. There's a lot of stats on this. And you look at the predicted visitors by source and LLMs at Redline is going up dramatically. And I think it's going to go up faster than this. This is just an estimate of how fast it's going up, that people are using LLMs to search versus going to Amazon and typing in or Google. Digital wallet interactions, this is again beyond what we're doing, but this plays in that Cosmo is going to be playing a part in this and talking to these agents, especially, and they may tie into Rufus through MCP or through API or through some of these other techniques that are being developed. Who knows? But this is big. The forecast for agentic shopping by 2030 is almost 9 trillion with a T. That's what 8,633 billion is $9 trillion worldwide. That's some serious freaking volume. And if you're not ready for this, you're going to be hurting. But like I said, the war is on. OpenAI and Amazon, when in July, 2 weeks ago, when OpenAI kind of squeaked out through his newsletter, Agentic Commerce, this newsletter, from a story from Financial Times, they say that, hey, this new version of ChatGPT may have some agentic shopping built in. And then the Comet browser came out, and then some other browsers. And so it's like, whoa, this is pretty big. So you're going to be able to actually do advertising and pay to actually show up in ChatGPT, or you're going to be able to actually optimize for those bots, and so that you can get free organic traffic that's going to drive to your Shopify or to your Amazon or something. This is big, and you want to be there first. It's like selling on Amazon in 2014. Some of you may have started selling. You saw the amazing.com courses and paid $5,000 to learn how to source on Alibaba and sell on Amazon. Back then, it was pretty easy. You could just find something, stick your label on it, put it up, and then go to the beach and just sell your company to Thrasio 6 years later for millions of dollars. And that's where we're at now. It's not the huge thing, but if you want to be there at the first wave and ride that wave all the way in. But Amazon and Shopify is like, hold on a second, ChatGPT, you're not just going to come steal all of our stuff. So they're actually trying to block it, but they're going to work out partnerships. They're like just blocking it for now, but they're going to think, no, you pay us for this, because they have massive data too. And the content right now is king. Content is super valuable, and data is super valuable. The people that own the data and the people that own the traffic own the market. And then Amazon just came out with Starfish, just announced that it's been in development for a while, but they're indexing the entire world's products, not just what's sold on Amazon, but everything sold anywhere in the world online, and trying to be the source for that. And they're going to turn that into massive data and massive AI, and Cosmo is going to be a part of that. So it's huge what's going on. Now, like Norm said at the beginning, he and I co-host the Marketing Misfits podcast. There's a new episode comes out every Tuesday. Neil Patel is out right now. If you like Neil Patel, he's talking about AI and stuff. It just came out yesterday. But 2 weeks ago, this guy, Qasem Aslam, was on. He probably has the most data of anybody on like answer engine optimization right now. That's not some big huge data scientist at Google or something. That's a outsider, and they've been studying it for like 11 months and tracking things. And this podcast, I highly recommend everybody go listen to it, because he talks about what you're going to be needing to do as a brand, and you as a product seller, and some of the things that are going to need to change in your mindset, not just on Rufus or Cosmo, but like just mindset, how you actually market. It's really good. So I highly recommend everybody go check that episode out. If this type of stuff is like, you're like, this is kind of cool, Kevin, but you know what? I don't have time to learn this. I don't have a team. I don't want to mess with this. Norm and I have a company that's in stealth right now, and it's about to come out. If you want to get on a wait list, we'll be able to help you. We're working with some of the top minds in the space on this. And so if you want to get on that wait list, you can scan that QR code or go to amzmarketer.com/capital D, capital F, and get on the wait list, and we can help you out. But today we want to help you out directly with one of the top experts. And like I said, this is the chart I showed at the beginning, where this is Prime Day 2 days ago, and it's big. It's happening. It's happening now, and it's moving fast. So what we wanted to do is bring on one of the authors of this paper, and that's Juana, who's super smart at doing this, and she's going to show you some actionable, tactical, practical stuff today. Now, remember, she co-authored this paper, so she's read it backwards and forwards. She can recite it in her sleep probably. including some of those complicated words to say. She's helped a lot of sellers across a lot of listings do this. But here's the most important thing. She's a seven-figure seller herself, and she does this with her own money and her own business. She's not just hawking this and I read something and telling you this is what to do. She's actually doing it for herself and making money for herself, which is a critical distinction between a lot of people that are teaching or showing you this stuff. And so she's going to show you right now. I'm going to bring her on, and she's going to give you. Remember, you're going to get some bots that you'll be able to download immediately, and some other tactical stuff that she's going to show you about this. So, Juana, welcome again
Again.
again. So I'm gonna try to quit sharing here, make sure I don't hit any wrong buttons, and let you take it over.
Thank you so much. It feels like a deja vu almost. So, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
And I really want to thank you for waiting for 40 minutes. I promise you it's going to be worth it. And let's get into action because I know we don't have a lot of time. But as Kevin and Norm mentioned, we will be looking at what really moves the needle and what you really need to take home. And today you're going to go away, I promise you, with actionable items. Is just a part of the entire optimization. But I will briefly kind of like touch point on what is important. And most importantly, with 4 bots. 3 out of these 4 bots are not on the GPT store. Only one of them is, so you will get access to 2 of them actually exclusively. They have never been shared outside of my team so far. We only use it for ourselves and for our clients, and that's it. But without further ado, let's get into it. And yes, ranking isn't magic. Let's be clear. It's science. And
Can you share your screen, Juana?
yes, I thought I started sharing my screen. Let me try it
I
again.
think I might have overrode you until I quit mine.
Oh, I gotcha.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go.
Does it
You're
work?
good. Yep, you're good.
It's working? Okay, amazing. So when it comes to optimization, you need to understand what you need to do so you can continuously improve and win. So let's go directly into this. Importance of click-through rate. Let's talk click-through rate first because that's what Amazon does. And we talked a lot about Cosmo. We talked about Rufus. They help connect your products to shoppers based on shopper intent. I will not get geeky about that. I know who knows me, usually I do it, but I do want to mention this. And it's quite important because everybody talks about conversion rate, which is extremely important. But there is this specific science paper from last year on the click-through rate. Bottom line, click-through rate is a primary ranking factor when it comes to Amazon. And it makes sense because your products would need to be seen, clicked on, and then, of course, bought. So for Amazon, clicks are the first thing that matter, more important even than conversions. And there are a lot of tactics on how to do that. If you want to dive deep into this, Amazon Science, you find the specific paper, download it. And as a seller, honestly, you don't need to know the techniques behind that and all the technical details. But what you do need to know is that if you put the paper in ChatGPT and tell it, as a seller, I'm an Amazon seller, what do I need to do? What do I need to know about this? It will tell you that the first thing that you need to do, and most important, is to make sure that you optimize your listings for visibility. That's what the whole paper is about and how it works. Most importantly, for Cosmo, which then will feed into Rufus. So when it comes to the click-through rate drivers, right? Of course, we all know it's main image, product title. We can look at the price. We don't want to touch that because we had a rough year this year with the tariffs, and I get that. And of course, reviews and star rating. It will depend from one category to another. And here I do want to mention Deep M. That's Brian Johnson's software, super sharp. For those of you who are not using it, I suggest you go. It's maybe one of the top at the moment that will give you insights on ranking and how it works. And also per category, what is important when it comes to signals. But title and the main images will always be the drivers for the click-through rate. And this is what we're going to look at today. I'm going to give you some of the steps that we do internally when it comes to optimizing, of course, the main images and the title. And I picked this listing as you can see, the main image would need a lot of work, and we will do that together. I will show you what we can do with the bots. And of course, also the title. Now, this listing has been selling on Amazon since 2017. I have it in my data dive rank radar, and I follow it because I'm curious to see how it ranks, because it really lacks a lot of keywords. Now, here's the thing. Keywords do still matter. It depends on how you use them and where you use them. That's the most important thing, and I will show you how to do that specifically for Cosmo. Now, let's get into the optimization. And first thing, I'm going to give you here two bots. Both of them are for listing optimization. None of them have been shared for free on the ChatGPT store so far. I've given Dr. Pixel away at a couple of events. Dr. Stop the Scroll, as I call it, has never been shared. The one thing that you need to understand is that you use both of them, and I will show you how. So the first bot, once that you scan it, will be the bot that will help you generate the brief. Now, here's the thing. Whenever we generate a brief to help us optimize for the main image, we never generate only one. We usually generate three of them. Why? Because we really need to make sure that we optimize time. First of all, that's why we are using bots instead of waiting for the creative team for a week with drafts and briefs, and then you go back to the drawing board, maybe because you don't like anything. But most importantly, you want to always have three options that you're going to pull. And once that you actually have data behind what would be more appealing for your customers, that's the one that you go and benchmark against competitors, and then ends up in your Amazon experiments. And right after this section, you will also have our SOP. I'm giving that away when it comes to utilizing either product opinion, pick 4 in Celery to pull and get data on making choices when it comes to listing optimization. But without further ado, let me show you how Dr. Stop the Scroll works. So this would be a short demo. I will go fast through this because I know we lost 40 minutes. You hit the start button and it will already start asking you details around the product. Now, I already prepared a file, as you can see, where we have all the information. We have the link to the PDP, I have the product overview, I have the feature, the benefits, and of course, the emotional connection. I have the target demographic, a competitor insights, and then of course, the 3 customer personas. So I'm going to copy this, give it to the first bot. And what it will do, it will start generating the briefs for the 3 main images based on the information that I provided it. Now, please keep in mind that the document that I showed you is missing the Rufus questions, it's missing data from SQP, and of course, some of the other internal documents that we utilize, specifically the RICE formula, which I'm going to show you today also. But keep in mind that at this point, I get the brief on what I would need to optimize. I just copy paste this and give it to the second bot one by one. And most importantly, you would need to provide it also images. You don't need to do anything fancy. I usually like if we have images because we do that internally. But if you want to test this on a random product on Amazon, you just take a screenshot, you provided a couple of images. Lifestyle, in this case, we don't have, like, we're super limited. But let me show you what this did. And right now, I'm very glad that I prepared this in advance because it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to generate all 3 of them. And I know that today time is quite important. So as you can see, Dr. Stop the Scroll Stardust, it provided me this brief over here. And I gave it to the second bot alongside with the product images. And this is what it first generated. I put next to it the original one just to show, like, the difference. In this case, keep in mind that, as we discussed many times, the AI might do, might make some mistakes on the labels, on the details. However, keep in mind that these are drafts and you generate them literally in 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, just to see if you like them without waiting 3, 4, 5 days for a creative designer only to understand if they would work or not. And believe me, when it comes to polling, because that would be the main purpose of this, in order to understand and get data to see if people would rather click on this. Well, it's not really, it's quite obvious, but let's say you have a product that is doesn't really look like this, right? So you want to test concepts. In that case, this would still work best. You don't have to wait weeks. You can start really testing massively. Now, next one. As I mentioned, the bot will always generate 3 images. Of course, you can ask it to generate more, just a couple of minutes more, and you will have more concepts. Now, the second brief is around ingredients focused. And we got this. Again, some of the details here might be off, but this would be really ready for polling and try to understand, would people like this more and be more likely to click on it versus what we previously showed, which is the whole purpose of this test. And then the third one, we have a package. So we wanted to understand the package. Remember, for those of you who still don't believe that Amazon can see your images and read your images, the answer is yes. They do have OCRs, and everything that's on the image, all the information is extremely important. So make sure that if you have a box for your product, make sure that you put it over there, specifically if it contains information that might help you with relevancy for Cosmo and Rufus picking it up. So in this case, our third image, in this case, was with the box. Now, at this step, we have 3 new concepts. What we want to do is we go and start testing them. You can see screenshots. I know that this will be recorded. You will get the recordings, but mainly this is our main image testing SOP. Let me scroll for a bit over here. The whole purpose would be to get data behind, of course, what would be the best image to put out there. And of course, you will see compared to our competitors when it comes to intention of clicks. Okay, then we go into the stack poll, make sure that we follow every step, and it's really comprehensive. I don't want to waste time on this. This is yours to have. It's the first time that we share it outside of our internal team. You can use IntelliV, Product Opinion, PickFu, or whatever you would prefer. Make sure that you just get the data and analyze everything around that. And then, of course, go and benchmark this against top competitors to try to understand if you would do a simulated search, what would they be most likely to click on? Something extremely important is that you make sure, and it's also mentioned in the SOP, that you take demographics into consideration. You want to make sure that you address your right audience, because that's extremely important in terms of data before applying it to Amazon. And of course, last but not least, you would go and start A/B testing it on Amazon, trying to understand versus your current image, what is the one with the highest click-through rate and the highest conversion rate when tested directly on Amazon shoppers. Okay, so now we get into the fun part. Let me try to see if I can make this bigger. I don't know how many of you remember this specific article from last year. At Amazon Accelerate, they announced Project Amelia. Now, that was quite a big announcement for everyone. And the reason was they started telling us how they will be personalizing titles. So at that point, everything made sense. If you remember, the first change on the policy was, I think, last year in August, when they went and applied new rules to bullet points, and then titles came in, of course, because they need to align with how Cosmo reads our listings, and makes sure that we don't just keyword stuff, but we use keywords in a strategic way. So moving away from this, because this is the reason why we now face the 2-part optimization title. And what do I mean by that? Is we need to make sure that whenever we look at titles, we optimize them with Cosmo in mind. And this is the first time I'm actually sharing this. I talked about the Cosmo relations previously in the 15 relations, and I will show them to you as well. But when it comes to titles specifically, include primary keywords and the key outcome. But you need to make sure that you talk to Cosmo. So what do I mean by that? When we look at a title, we need to make sure that we say what the product is a, used to, used for function, used for event, and used for audience if you still have real estate for your listing, if you still have where to use. Rice evaluation, this is something that I present, and I gave away my framework on the previous AI workshop that Kevin and Norm did. That's where I specifically went through on how we utilize it. But basically, we take all the data around the product and the shoppers, and then we evaluate each feature ending into each keyword on how important that is for our shoppers. And based on that, it's a scoring system which will tell us if it's worth putting it in the title or if it's worth putting it in the bullet points or where it would need to go based on the importance for that. For titles specifically, keep in mind that it needs to have, of course, a high reach and impact. And then when it comes to the real estate, meaning long tail keywords will get a low score on the relevance side. So with this said, let's go and test the bot. Now, in this case, you can scan the code and you will get directly to the bot that I prepared here today. Now, in this case, we will use again the entire data that we have on
Marla,
the product.
can you put the QR code back up? Some people didn't get it.
Yes.
Yeah, just for leave it up for
absolutely.
a few seconds. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, there it is. Absolutely. So at this point, we will use the bot to help us generate the titles. But most importantly, I adapted the bot, which, by the way, is, keep in mind that all the bots that I train and create in ChatGPT, they all have, of course, the Amazon science papers behind them and the articles that I wrote and all the data sources that we use. So they are specifically trained for this. But this bot, I will show you that it doesn't only give us ideas around the title optimization, but it will also give us 5 variants on how the title might look once that Amazon starts playing mix and match with the keywords within the title when it comes to the title creation and personalization that we saw previously in the Project Amelia. So give me an optimized title using all the data. And here I will also drop the MKL, like the list of keywords from Data Dive, and the 5 variants. Let's see what it gives us. So at this point, we will just need to wait for a second. It analyzes. Again, keep in mind that you will see at one point, the bot might even ask you for the rice scoring because it was trained to take that into consideration as well. We don't have that, and also the Rufus questions. But original title, and then we have the optimized one. So as you can see, it gave us a specific new title to test, focusing on the organic blend, and then it shows us 5 variants. So it doesn't change the order; it will just change the. It doesn't change the word; it will just change the order. In this case, one thing that we need to keep in mind is that about 75% of the shoppers come from mobile. So whenever you optimize your titles, keep in mind that the personalization project that Amazon has in mind is that it always gives visibility to the keywords that are in the title in such a way that will be always shown in the first 80 characters. So it is relevant and gets a better click-through rate when it comes to seeing the product on the search. So that is why we play around with the 5 variants. Now, getting into the prioritization of rice, again, reach, impact, confidence, and effort. the reach and the impact will be the most important things that you will need to take into consideration when it comes to which are the keywords. As you saw, I provided the bot with the list of keywords that we downloaded from Data Dive. Of course, the list of keywords is extremely important it's extremely important that you curate it. You don't want irrelevant terminology. I said this numerous times. Make sure that everything that you add to your listing is relevant, because it will mostly hurt you rather than help you if Cosmo doesn't understand specifically what your product is, or it will start showing your product for irrelevant terms and you will not get clicks nor conversions, or you will have wasted ad spend in case some curious people just want to click on it, but then they will realize it was not the product that they were shopping for. In this case, also keep in mind that when it comes to titles, and I showed you previously the effort, right? It needs to have a low effort. Ideally, you will need to pick those keywords from the list of the keywords that do represent what the product is used for, or used for as a function, but it's not a very long tail keyword. Like, for example, dishwasher safe. And I used this example in the AI workshop, in which that had a high reach and impact, but in terms of the effort was quite a long tail keyword, and it was occupying a lot in my title. So it ultimately comes down to a compromise between them. Now, Cosmo schema, we need to talk to Cosmo, right? And in the title, you would need, of course, to make sure that you add 5 of the 15 Cosmo relations, just like I showed you previously. Like what the product is, what is the audience, like what is it meant for, the target demographics, used for event, what event it is, occasion or situation. Is it for birthday parties or for a specific I don't know, events that you can use the product. Used for function, what specific function does this product perform? And of course, used to, when it comes to the goal and the target. And these are only 5 out of the 15 Cosmo relations. And with that in mind, I also wanted to share this with you. So I know everybody talked last year about, Cosmo and how it affects, and yes, it does. It plays a crucial role when it comes to visibility. But with the example that everybody shared and we discussed, it wasn't always easy to understand how it applies to your product, right? Like in the example from the science paper, you have the pregnant woman and the slip-resistant shoes. But for many sellers that I talked to, was like, okay, but how do I optimize for mine? Because common sense may not always be that straightforward. And that's true. That is why the secret comes from looking and making sure that you optimize with the 15 relations that Cosmo has in mind, because it pulls millions of data points. It goes through 2 groups, like the co-buy and the co-search. But then what it really analyzes your product for relevancy is are the 15 relations. And of course, I created a bot to help you do that, to help you understand if your listings are Cosmo optimized, and help you from this standpoint. So we have the Cosmo doctor check. We will hit start.
Can you go back real quick and let them
yes,
because that was cut off about half the time there. Yeah, just give them a few seconds.
Gotcha. Absolutely. So here you can easily use this bot to test, of course, your title, bullet points, product description, and also backend, and make sure that it's always 100% fully optimized for Cosmo. The good part is that it will also give you recommendations in terms of what you need to add whenever it misses something. With this and the secret sauce that I provided you for what are the functions specifically for the title, of course we have it for everything else, but for the title, you already know what you need to include to be optimize for Cosmo, making sure that your title talks directly to Cosmo and it gets the visibility that it needs, alongside with the recipe of making sure your titles are not keyword stuff and don't make sense, and of course they are compliant. But let's test it. So let's try it here. I'm just going to copy what we have from the listing. It's easier whenever you will have this already on your flat files, but let's do it the traditional way, right? just to see what I'm putting here. So the title, the bullet points, the product benefits. I also am going to get the product description, add it into, and then of course I have some important information around it. So let me add this into as well. And there we go. So at this point, the bot, again, trained on Cosmo, it will tell us if we are optimized, in this case, with the Amish beard oil for Cosmo or not. And as you can see, it has the used for event, it's missing. And it's also giving me a recommendation. It's perfect for daily grooming or taming your beard before a night out. Used for audience is missing. You have used as, and then you go again with used in location. So it's all flagged because it goes through all of the 15 Cosmo relations, which will tell you, of course, what you need to add because you are missing optimization for Cosmo. Now, in this case, one thing else that I want to give you guys today, and as promised, we have a checklist. And once that we go through all of the steps internally, we really need to make sure that we have these fully optimized, like readable titles. And for the main images, you can take again a screenshot of this. This is just a part of the checklist that we have. It goes through the entire content, the entire listing. I wanted to give you the one that's relevant for the image and for the main image and of course the title, but it goes along for secondary images, A+, product description, bullet points, and the back end, of course. So yeah, this was it. I know I started running through it a bit, but I really wanted to make sure that everybody gets access to all of the bots and gets all the information that I wanted to share today. And yeah, now I'm ready for the questions.
We'll get to those in just a moment. Let me see. Make sure you can hear me. Everything turned on. All right. Yeah, if you have questions, type those in the Q&A, not in the webinar chat. Type those in the Q&A, please. And then we're going to get to those here in about five minutes or so. But so what she just showed you is just some of, oops, I got to swap my screens. There we go. What she just showed you is just a touch of what she's going to be teaching next week. She's going to go into this in detail over 5 days next week, including the whole RICE framework. Now, if you saw the AI webinar that we did, Norm and I did, it was July 10th was the actual webinar date, the free webinar. She talked about the RICE method in that. And then on the 20th, we did actually a paid webinar. It was 8 hours, 8 different speakers, all about AI for e-commerce. I know some of you got that. Maybe you haven't made it through that. She talks about it a little bit more in there. But she's also next week going to be going into it again in detail with everybody. And so she's going to be explaining over Monday through Friday next week, about 60 to 90 minutes per day for those that are interested, how to optimize and do this step by step. More GPTs, more optimization things. Just that last one she just showed with the 15 where it showed you what you're missing. That one, that right there should be if you got nothing from this webinar, that right there is critical to make sure you get all those use cases into the listing so that you can reword it. That was the pure gold right there. But she's going to be showing you that, how to do the keyword research properly to feed these bots, how to do the Rufus optimization, how to do the copy optimization, how to do the creative brief. You know, she said that at the beginning, like, looks, a couple things were missing out. And I saw someone posting, hey, what about the Q&A? She's going to cover all that too, all the Rufus Q&A, generating 100 questions that you need to make sure that it's addressing, and all the back-end optimization, all these in detail. I mean, this looks like something like this. I'm not going to read all this, but like one day she's going to cover all this main listing creation process flow and show you how to do all these things in this grid. The second day, she's going to show you the Rufus optimization flow. I know you can't read this, but she's going to go through this entire thing and show you how to do it for your listings. And then the copy optimization. This one was the Rufus optimization. This is the copy optimization. These are the flows that she's developed, and she's going to take you through this. The bots will do some of this for you, so you don't have to do all this, but they'll do some of this stuff for you. But she's going to go through all of this stuff with you as well. And then the creative brief flow. How does a creative brief get created? She's going to show you step by step and how to use some of the bots to actually automate a lot of this to actually do all these steps for you. And then she's going to show you the back-end optimization. You can see this is detailed, and she's like studied this. This is not some glossy top of the surface stuff. She's going to go through the back-end optimization. And then, like the fellow kept asking, how do you generate the 100 questions so that you can optimize for the questions that people are asking in Rufus, and you can make sure that those are addressed and that you're going to be the winner when they ask maybe they're comparing your product versus something else or whatever it may be. She's going to show you how to actually get that optimized as well. So that's all next week, about an hour to an hour and a half per day. And she's doing it for just 199 bucks. It's just $199 for the entire thing. It's August 4th to the 8th. Like I said, 60 to 90 minutes each day. Um, uh, the time I believe is 2 o'clock Eastern. I believe I'll confirm that with her, but I think it's at 2 o'clock Eastern time, which is 11 a.m. Pacific. They are being recorded, so if that's like 4 a.m. in the morning for you, you will get the recordings and access to the bots and the prompts and all the detailed SOPs. So if you can't make it all live, or you can only make two of them, whatever it may be, the recordings will go out on those. So you will get all that as well. This is detailed step-by-step hands-on training for you. And like we said, the whole purpose of this webinar ranking isn't magic. It's just how it's optimization science, and that's exactly what she's done. I spelled optimization with a Z there. She spells it with an S because she does it the British way. But I'm in America, so we do it the Z way. But that's what this is. It's not difficult, especially with using some of these tools that she's developed. It makes this a lot easier, and all these prompts and everything just makes this easier than trying to do this on your own. Again, it's just 199 bucks. Now you will need a keyword tool, probably like Helium 10 or Data Dive. Data Dive is what she uses a lot, but Helium 10, if you already have access to that, it'll spit out the keyword stuff too. Or if maybe you have another tool, they should be comparable. She just prefers to use Data Dive, and you'll need ChatGPT access. If you have the $20 version, that's going to give you the best results. It's not absolutely necessary in every case, but that's going to give you the best results. And then if you want to do the testing, you'll need access to a Product Pinion or IntelliV or PickFu, one of those, so that you can actually do some of the image testing. But most of us probably already have access to that, or it's something you should be doing anyway. So that's if you want to join WANA next week for those 5 days, or at least get the recordings of all that, you can go to scan that QR code or go to amzmarketer.com/Rufus. The spelling there on that link, it is a capital R. My server's sensitive, so if you type lowercase r, it may give you a dead link, but type capital R and then lowercase UFUS. If you want to, and I'll post that in the chat here in a minute, or you can scan that QR code and that'll let you sign up. If you missed the AI webinar that Norm and I did it was a Sunday, it's July 20th, an 8-hour one, and you'd like to get access to that, there is an option on this payment page where you can add that to your cart. You don't have to. It's not necessary, but people are raving about it. If you want to do that, you can add it there, and you'll get a replay, the copy of the replay. It's 8 hours long. It's 8 different speakers, and it's really, really good. So if you want to add that and you missed it, you have that option there. But otherwise, we're going to open it up to Q&A now. I know. I saw there's quite a few. Norm's going to handle the Q&A, and I'll post this link into the chat.
I think one thing we should do, Kev, is that URL that you posted. That's the same. We had a bunch of people try to get in on the Dragonfish one, and I posted it in here, but maybe you can do it with the case sensitive.
Yeah, I'm gonna post the link directly in the chat for everybody right now.
Okay. All right. So we got a ton of questions. I just got to pull them up. All right. This is coming from Chris. How soon after the presentation on a given day will the recordings be available?
How soon will they be available, Juana?
I would say a couple of days just for the team to put everything together, and they will start receiving them via email, most likely. Yes.
Okay. And this is in no particular order. This is Alex. How are you tracking performance of updates made? What are the main KPIs you are tracking to see if it's working or not?
If it's working, I estimate when you optimize your listing and your titles, I I already shared with you on the SOP. It goes to Amazon Experiments. I strongly suggest you do that and you leave it on just to make sure that you have Amazon direct data. Otherwise, you would just need to make sure that you mark it in your calendar and start tracking down, of course, click-through rate, as I mentioned, first of all, and then conversion. What I showed you was specifically optimization for main image and titles, which have an impact for the click-through rate. So in this case, that would be something that we want to track. And then, of course, in the webinar, we will also go into optimization for the conversion rate. And I will share you briefs and ways to create drafts, even for secondary images. So you can start also measuring your conversion once that you optimize for that as well.
Okay, this is from Nicholas. What's sorry, the type is really small and I can't increase it. Uh, what what's the guess? How will PPC how will the PPC game change when Rufus and Cosmo are fully on? Do we have any studies of guesses on that?
So we have no Amazon data. I did talk to the advertising team. I'm part of the official Amazon educators also team. We don't have data from Rufus yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed, a year from now, we will be able to get data around advertising and how our ads are showing into Rufus because we know we do, and it's only the beginning. But at the moment, we don't have that. So it's kind of like at the beginning of the wave, just making sure that you optimize. And there are ways to optimize. I will teach you that. We have the Rufus questions. We reverse engineer how to pull data from Rufus. But when it comes to KPIs from Rufus specifically, Amazon is not. I'm sure that they have it. They're not releasing them at the moment.
Just
All
I
right.
think to answer that a little bit too, just if you compare it to what Google's doing, I mean, usually what's happening in one market kind of applies in another. So Google right now went to AI overviews. A lot of you know if you search on Google, you can turn on AI or you can turn it off. But the AI overviews have actually cut down on the number of clicks. So like publishers, like newspaper people and stuff are complaining because they're not getting as many clicks because it's suggesting something and not everybody clicks in those AI overviews. But what Google is noticing is that their actual revenue, they just put out their Q2 report. This will be in my newsletter tomorrow. They put quarter two just came out, and it's in there. If you study the quarterly report, they talk about this. They're actually doing better now with AI overviews. They're making more money than they were before, and they're very positive. Very up on it. So Amazon is going to be waiting to they're getting the data right now, like Juana said, and as soon as they know that, hey, this is actually the better way and we can actually make more money for our shareholders, they're going to switch to it 100%. And there'll probably be
Absolutely.
there'll be a button that says, use the old website or something like that. They're not just going to like overnight turn off the old keyword way. And it will not default to that. And people are going to have to go to that. That's what I think is going to happen. Whether that's 3 months from now or 2 years from now, we don't know. And that's what Juana was saying, but it's moving quick. And so the point is get prepared now.
Okay. This one's from Stan. Awana, do you have a custom GPT set up that also analyzes images along with the title, bullets, and the description to check if a listing optimized for Cosmo or Rufus?
So the Cosmo bot will already help you for everything that's text related. In the training, I will guide you through how we analyze secondary images, going through recognition. Because we have AWS recognition available, it's free. You just create an account. I will guide you through step by step on how to utilize it. And that will show you exactly how Amazon sees your images, which will indicate what you need to optimize for. So it's not a custom GPT that I meant, but it's a tool that actually Amazon provides.
Perfect. This is an easy one. Mohammed says, where can I join?
The link is in the chat, so if you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can type in that link. Or I also, if you look in the chat, you could just click. You look, it's like the second one from the bottom. Um, about 5 minutes ago, it was put there. So there's only one after it from. Well, actually, you guys can't see that. It should be the only one of the only ones in there. The last one, the chat. You can just click on that.
All right. From Andrew, I wonder how you're supposed to fit all the content and keywords into bullet points plus title if the bullet point is only supposed to have around 250 characters?
I will show you exactly how to do that. It comes down to focusing on the intent for each bullet point, make it readable. Yes, you do need to make sure that your content is human readable as long as Cosmo readable. And if you remember in the title hint that I showed you, where for each specific section I showed you only for the title, we have which specific relation for Cosmo. We do that analysis alongside with the RICE formula for each bullet point. So at the end of the day, it's all data driven. So one feature will be more important versus another. Therefore, that will decide the order in the scoring system. And from that, we will use a bot that will help us generate that specific bullet point and then check it with the Cosmo check and make sure that it falls in within the Cosmo framework. So it talks to Cosmo, it is Cosmo optimized, and also respects the guidelines.
All right. When we have a lot of changes on a product listing, can we do it all at once without confusing the algorithm? Or do we have to change to product listings over time?
I would suggest making gradual changes so you are sure what has an impact on a specific KPI. Most importantly, titles versus images or text versus images, not uploaded all at the same time. If you do have time, if you do have, I would say, the luxury of doing so, but if your listing is really bad and it's tanking and you know you need to take action in that case, there's no point on waiting around. You would just make sure that you go in and do the changes and then starting to analyze. So it really depends on where you are. So if you are, selling well, I would say you are ranked organically well from a perspective of, visibility, and you want to make changes because you want to rank higher. I suggest you do them gradually so you gather more data. But if not, just go in and do all the changes and make sure that your listing is fully optimized.
Okay, this is from Max. How can you tell if these SEO updates made a difference? What's the best way to measure your impact?
Best way to measure impact would definitely be we use a lot the SQP data, and we benchmark our performance versus category. And that would be my go-to place right after I did the uploads. Of course, for any of you, having a weekly report, you look at your click-through rate, at your conversion rate, and of course, the organic positioning for specific terminology that you set specifically for ranking keywords. But when it comes to truly understand if it moved the needle, you will not only see that in the most important KPIs, but it will also show an improvement in the benchmark that you set your product in comparison to the SQP data.
I just want to remind everybody, if you want to click in the chat, the link is in the chat. You can click there, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. And I see Max Sinclair. He has one of the top AI companies for Amazon sellers. They just rebranded to a new name. But he actually posted here and said, "Want an absolute master class as always. Thank you." And so if you
Thanks,
liked what
Max.
you just saw right here, that's coming from someone who knows their salt from their sugar. Uh, Make sure you actually go and sign up and take advantage of this. And remember to check your whatever your Stripe email is, whatever email is in your Stripe account, that's where you're going to get the confirmation. So if later today or tomorrow you're like, hey, I haven't heard anything, what's going on? Make sure you check that email because that's what we have on the system. But the link is in the chat, or you can get it from the screen. But go ahead, Nora. I just wanted to.
So Brian Johnson messaged me and he just said uh, his his app Deep M, so that's DEEPM,
Deep app.
is
I love
is
it.
yeah for search and it's for search and research, not for image optimization. There was a bunch of people that were asking for the tool that you or the app that you were talking about.
I was mentioning how advanced it is when it comes to ranking, because it helps for search visibility and, of course, ranking. I absolutely love it. I use it across my account and client accounts, and the information that you get from it is super important. But yes, it's not related to image at
You
all.
mentioned another app about images earlier on. Do you remember what that was?
Recognition
Oh, yeah,
on
image recognition.
yes, on the AWS. That's the one that we will use in the training to check how Amazon shows your listings, and that's it's a tool that Amazon provides.
Okay. Alex says, in regards to optimization of Rufus, how would you prioritize these? Title, image, bullet points, product description, A plus, and alt text.
In order of a specific protocol that you have, Kevin showed you, we have the Rufus optimization where we pull information from the niche that you are in, from Rufus specifically, and we optimize it based on the data. So it will be prioritized for each product specifically, and I will give you the SOPs on how to do that, because we use Rufus itself on the search, and then we use bots in order to do contrast comparison with the bestsellers versus your product to find gaps in their optimizations, and then utilize that specifically across your listing based on the importance of a specific feature versus what's missing on your competitors.
Okay.
And I just put the links to DeepM in the chat as well as to recognition. So it's deepm.ai and then aws.amazon.com/recognition with recognition spelled with a K though, not a C.
Okay. Albert's asking about this will be, I think this is a no. The checkout asks for a promo code. Is there a promo code?
And there's not, no.
Okay,
That's
I
just
just
it
wanted to
shows
make
there, yeah.
sure. Okay. Andy, I guess all the way from Australia. At the moment, PPC is contributing a massive amount of revenue to Amazon. So do you have a vision or idea of how they will charge for Rufus AI?
In terms of charging, I wouldn't know what
My
that
guess,
means.
my
It's
guess is
like,
this is my
yeah.
guess, and I could be totally wrong. So don't take this as the gospel. But my guess is what's going to happen is that Amazon, we'll mark this spot in the webinar, and we'll come back to it if this happens, and I can say I told you so. But what I think is going to happen is that Amazon's going to go the way of Facebook and TikTok. TikTok has already gone to GMV max, where you just say how much you're willing to bid, and this is my product, and they do it for you. AI does it for you. Facebook, Zuckerberg came out and said they're going to that next year. My gut feeling, and again, I could be wrong, is that Amazon is going to do that with Rufus, where it may be a separate option, just like we have DSP and we have video ads and we have a standard PPC and all that. There may be another option that's like Rufus ads, and you just say, here's my budget and here's my product, and it does it. That would be my guess. So it'll be, almost like an auto bid system or something like that, where they're doing it for you. I could be wrong, but that's what kind of the writing on the wall looks like to me.
Okay.
I think it might well fit into what you mentioned, Kevin, from the audiences that you create from the DSP, because right
Yeah.
now in sponsored products, you can go, and if you create audiences from the DSP, you can go and target them. Most likely and hopefully that will be the case, where you can go and like target from audiences from Rufus specifically, and you will have a specific channel over there. I don't know if, like, in terms of charging, will be cost per click or viewable impressions. Most likely they will charge us for viewable impressions, because it will be more conversational rather than clicks getting from
Yeah.
Rufus.
Okay, we still have a ton of questions. How much longer, or how many more
We have
questions?
about 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
And just remember the
Uh,
links are on the screen. You still have a chance to get in. Um, and I will be emailing you later today. So if you sign up, don't worry. Like, I just signed up and I haven't gotten an email yet. You'll get something from me later today that will have the links to all 5 of the Zooms for next week, and they have to register on those Zooms, right? Juana? Or is
No,
it just
once that they get the links, they can
just
just
use?
join the,
Okay,
yeah,
just
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 use the
join
links
the. Okay,
directly. We made it easy. And by the way, it's 8 a.m. PST. Let me double check that. But starting Monday, yep, 8 a.m. PST.
okay. So that's 11 a.m. Eastern time, or 8 a.m. PST. So that's when the sessions will be. There'll be like 60 to 90 minutes. That's still correct, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then if each one's recorded, so if you can't make them all, you got to step away. You will get the recordings. It might take a couple days. They got to go through and make sure, edit any garbage out that might have gotten on there at the beginning or something where they're setting everything up or whatever, and then get those out. But you will get an email from me, from BDSS, from Kevin. So look for that. And later today, worst case, you'll have it tomorrow. Check your spam. Make sure you check your email that you used on Stripe, and that will have all 5 of those links inside there. So you can save that email and use that starting on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
Okay. How many listings have you optimized using the process, and what's the typical improvements that you see in the CTR and the CVR?
So here's the thing, there's no one shoe fits them all. I would say with the process that you will be getting, which I'm perfecting from last year, hundreds, and on average, we don't stop the process because we make sure that what we put out has a significant improvement. What does this mean? We go through testing up until we have significant data, and the process ends once that it is fully optimized and we have a better conversion, like significant data. So get your conversion rate from, let's say your category average is 10%, you are at 8, we want you to be at least at 10%. So you match, again, we benchmark the category that you are in. That's why it's always, you know, customized for each product. And that's why we pull all the data and we analyze it.
Okay, from Gillis, what about the listing translations? Are the rules of Cosmo optimization the same for each language?
Yes. However, the entire process will be done in English. Also, the bots are trained in English. I do speak other languages, but I strongly suggest that whenever you do a listing optimization in another language, you would need to make sure that you have somebody who's a native speaker of that language specifically, even when interacting with Rufus. The questions and the pulling of data will be the same, the process is the same, but of course, make sure that the translation of them, of the listing and the final result is accurate. I always suggest that.
And what if you can't make it for one of the recordings?
If you can't make it for the live training, you will get the recordings.
Okay.
Get the recordings and the SOPs. Absolutely. You don't need to attend. You will by default get the recording and the SOPs.
Okay, from Robert. The search still starts with a keyword, even with Rufus.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will explain why it's specifically laid out even in the patent. And it explains how Rufus pulls data. Again, it pulls information from Cosmo and how it makes the correlation with the search.
All right. Uh, what's the best practice to put the missing Cosmo fields once we audit a listing? Add the title bullets or the main image first.
It depends on the framework that I shared with you, where we look at the 15 relations and go through the rice scoring formula that I shared on the previous AI that Kevin mentioned webinar. You have all that, plus you have the overview. In the presentation, I only put the title, which we looked at the 5 relations, but of course we have that for the entire listing.
Okay. And this is from Susan. Uh, are are the 3 links for the bot instead, or are there 3 links for the bots instead of the QR code and a link for the checklist?
For the checklist, no, neither for the SOP. That's why I mentioned that ideally you should take screenshots. But for the bots, the QR code, I figured it might be easier with the recording, specifically people who get the recording. It's easier to get access to the bots by scanning the code rather than the links.
Something you can do too is, yeah, if you missed it, you will get the recording. Just again, remember to check your spam or junk folder if you don't get anything by midday tomorrow on that. But you can take a screenshot of it from the recording, or depending on your device, if you're watching on a phone, at least on an iPhone, I don't know if it works on Android, you can just press and hold. You can like pause the video and press and hold on the QR code, and it will open the QR code. Um, so those are a couple things. But yeah, there's not a direct link to them. It's just through the QR code right now.
So, by the way, I'm sure that you haven't seen this, but there is a ton of people that were saying how great this was. It's well worth it. Thank you so much. So, I just wanted to let that know, let you know, because I know you haven't been monitoring the comments.
I haven't. I've been focusing on trying to make sure that I reply to everyone. And yeah, not paying attention to that, but I'm glad again. I'm super happy that you got value out of it. Four bots given today. You have the SOP, you have the checklist, and it's a lot. Like literally, this is just a tiny piece of the entire process, and I really wanted to condense it in such a way that it makes sense. So you still have some actionable items in terms of what you can go and do, even starting today.
Yeah, Mark Pacey, as if you want to paste those in here, Mark has all the links for the lady that asked. And if you want to share those here, I will turn around and post those to everyone. The chat only goes to us as the moderators, so everybody can't see that. But if you post them, we'll see it, and then I'll turn around and copy yours and post it. That way, people have all those links and make it
That's
easy for
awesome.
some.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Thanks, Mark.
thanks,
Awesome.
Mark, for doing that. Appreciate that.
Okay. Yep. Just to repeat this, can we get the slides after the webinar? They'll,
Yes.
they will, and there will be something going out by end of day tomorrow. Okay. Let's see. There's still so many questions. Okay, we did answer this, but Lauren was asking, what does RICE stand for? Can we find out more about it? And we did go through it, but do you want to just quickly go through the acronym?
Absolutely. So RICE is our internal scoring system. We pulled this, just to give you some context, we got this from the Silicon Valley product managers in order to understand how to prioritize not only the keywords, but keywords specifically related to features and the benefits of the product. So we created a system in which we go through a scoring system internally, looking at what really matters for our three customer personas. We always create three customer personas, and at the end, there's the framework in which we look at the reach that it has on how many people is this impacting, how many customers this feature relates to, the impact that it has upon them. The confidence is it's more like a gating system. We want to make sure that we always look at 100%. We are sure that the data that we are providing is accurate, but then we have the effort. So RICE, reach, impact, confidence, and effort. And at the end, the effort is how long the keyword is. So you calculate the real estate based on where you want to put it. And at the end, every specific feature of your product will get a score. And based on the RICE score, you will get to know where you place it in the title, in the bullet points, and play around with it.
All right. This one, hey, Kev, can you answer this one about the emails? When they're going to get the confirmation email?
Yeah, you get a confirmation email if you sign up. Stripe sometimes doesn't send it out right away, but you'll get a confirmation from me later today with the links to everything for next week. So don't worry about that. Just make sure you check the email that you used on Stripe. So sometimes people don't realize that maybe that's an older email or a second email that you have saved in your Stripe account. So if you don't get something by late tonight or by tomorrow morning, then check that email and make sure that that's the email that you're checking, because that's where the only one that we have where it can go to.
All right. This one's
Aaron, the checklist. She only had that. That's not available as a download. That's why she recommended you take a screenshot. So if you missed it, you will get the replay, and you can pause it and take screenshots there. It's not available. And then everybody, because Mark shared with us the QR code, so I posted that in the chat. You have the QR codes to three of the four that she shared. The other, I'm not sure. There's four total, right?
4 bots. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got three links here, but there's three of them.
Let me see which one. Pixel. Oh, they are missing the one that creates the. Let me send that. The one that creates the creative briefs for the 3 images. The one that we used initially. That's the one that it's missing. Let me send that right now.
That'd be great.
Yes. Let me share that with you guys.
all right.
Copy link. And okay. Did this go to everybody, Kevin? Or you
No,
need
but
to
I'll
copy it?
repost it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So here's
Okay.
the fourth one is coming now to you guys in the chat. So there it is.
Now, our friend Vincent Montero. All right, here's a question. Should we not include the brand product name in the title?
So here's the thing. I suggest that you do, but it will depend also from category to category. I have categories in which you cannot include them and they show up as tags. So in those specific categories, you are by default limited by Amazon in not adding your branded name. But the good news is that it will still be visible and pulled out on the search with the tag of the brand name. So it will still show up. In those cases, of course, you are limited by Amazon. Just make the best use out of the 200 characters. Otherwise, I still suggest adding the brand name to your initial at the beginning of the title.
All right.
Of course, it will also depend on how how much real estate your brand is, because if it's a very long branded name, that should be evaluated.
Okay.
So we've got time for like about 4 more questions, Norm.
Okay. How do we collect demographic data about certain product if we have not yet launched them? Amazon demographics report might not be available.
So if your product is new to Amazon, what I suggest is if you have other products within the brand, that this might be a complementary item. That's what I do. I use the demographics from those products because I already know, for example, for my products, they're complementary. So therefore, the same shopper profile would be buying also the new products that I'm launching. In that case, I'm using that specific demographics. If you are new to Amazon, like your brand is new to Amazon, you have no data, absolutely. In that case, ideally, we ask for data from your website, maybe if you ever sold before. But if it's like day 0 for your brand, we will need to make research outside of Amazon in terms of understanding who might buy it, why they might buy it, and create a customer profile around marketing points that are outside of Amazon or your website. But it will be more of a guessing game, and that might change once that you actually start getting data from the shoppers on Amazon.
So this is going down a completely different rabbit hole, but there's been about 3 or 4 people that mentioned they never received the July 20th replay. Now, we did send it out. And Kev, if you want to explain a bit further.
Yeah, that went out a week ago Monday, so almost 10 days ago. That went out on the 21st of July. If you did not get it, you need to check the email address that you used to actually pay for it on Stripe. If you still did not get it, you still can't find it, look in your junk or your promo or your spam. If you still don't have it, reply back to me with one of the other emails that you do have from us regarding that, and I'll resend it to you.
All right. Now, I can't believe this, but this is an old buddy of mine who's listening from way, way back, 2013, 14, Matthew Chandler. Can I have a team member attend along with with myself?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, Jim, I
definitely.
told you to check your junk. That's right. Check your junk. You never know what you'll find down there. Yeah, junk, spam, promotions.
Let me see. Oh God, Kevin. All right. This is don't get me going. Uh, how can we track the results from the Rufus and Cosmo optimization? We did touch on it. Do you want to touch on that again?
Absolutely. So our approach, as you will see, is extremely data driven. What I showed you was just randomly picking a product out of Amazon. But once that you are in your Seller Central, we will download way more data and analyze way more data points in order to have, I would say, the full blueprint of your product before going into optimization. And as mentioned in the beginning, what for me is gold is the SQP data, where we benchmark against competitors and the category and try to understand how the category is performing versus us and where are the I would say the missing points in that regards. So very data oriented around customization for each product and how it's currently being ranked versus what traction it will have after optimization.
Okay. Let's see. This is from Tom. How do I import the prompt that you made by ChatGPT account? When scanning it, it opens up in a web version. Is there any way I can scan it directly to my mobile app?
Once that you scan it, you should be able to add it to your own ChatGPT app,
Yeah, I just did
and
it.
start the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing special. It's the normal link to share.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it opens in a web browser, and then you have to
Yeah.
actually add it
Mhm.
to your account, and then it'll start then reopen your app on the mobile, and it should show up in there as one
And
of
I
your.
did not utilize any prompts. I just gave the bots data that I previously pulled. That's why I showed you. I created a product overview. I pulled the list of the features. I created some customer persona, the three customer personas around that, and that's what I gave the bots. I did not use any specific prompting for the bots. The bots are already pre-trained and they have already gone through, understanding what they need to do. So that's why you don't need specific prompting for any of them.
Okay. How many more questions, Kev?
I see like one or two. I see one from
Okay.
Andy. He says if you on the upcoming workshop, if you don't watch them in order, will that make a difference? So let's say he's there on Monday, but he
Yes.
misses Tuesday, and then he's able to make Wednesday. Is he going to need to wait then for Tuesdays before he does Wednesdays, or will that be confusing?
I think it will be confusing. I strongly suggest you kind of like take it step by step. That's how we created it. And you saw the mural boards, and one kind of like flows into the other. So I strongly recommend that you at least watch the highlights of the one that you missed if you want to attend the new one without making sure that you stay the whole 60 to 90 minutes.
Okay. From Stan, is there a way to understand how Rufus interprets my competitors' listings? What insights can we get from Rufus beyond just an FAQ?
So I actually have a bot, and within the training, we will go through the contrast comparison. That's how I call it, where we go and analyze one of the competitors. We choose our main competitor and we analyze it from a Rufus standpoint. Then we give that information to a bot that I have. It comes back with the strengths and the weaknesses from that specific optimization, and it's correlated to the Rufus questions as I mentioned, which at this point, yes, I think it's extremely important that you take the training once like in order in sequence as it is, because otherwise it can be confusing, and at one point you'll find yourself like, well, where did you pull that information? But going back to Rufus, yes, bottom line, there is a way that you analyze your competitors and then you do contrast analysis on how your listing is being optimized, and you get information utilizing a bot on that.
I just looked in the comments for a second, and and Abe's comment just caught my eye. Getting almost 10 hours from Wana for Wana's time for $200 is a steal. And
True.
absolutely, I cannot agree more.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree. And Andy, you said it's a problem. I understand you're in Oz, and you might miss one of those. It may be. It's not like this is like going to kill you. You may have to, if you have to miss one, you might just have to wait a couple days and then watch them in order. But unfortunately, it's like in a series. So not much we can do about that. But I know that creates a little bit of an issue for you. So maybe you start watching on Wednesday instead of Monday when you get the first one replay, and then go from there. Maybe just a couple days behind, which means you're not on the live to ask questions. So I understand the conundrum there. And Chen Lin, I think that may be the same case for you. You just asked us what the workshop show you how to do testing and what to test. Um, but that's yeah, that's the best we can do on that.
okay. So this one's about Shopify. It says,
Oh,
how does how does Rufus and Cosmo optimization apply to Shopify? Do I need an update the keywords on my Shopify product page? I don't know. Does it make any difference on Shopify?
oh God.
That's
I'm
a
an
whole
Amazon
other,
expert. It's a
yeah.
whole nother beast, I would say, when it comes to optimization on Shopify. So let's focus on making sure that it's optimized for Rufus and Cosmo on Amazon, and maybe then find a way to mirror that on the Shopify.
Okay, last question, and this is interesting. So, what about the emotional connection that you were talking about?
So there is, I have a trained bot that once that we put the product features, it helps us understand the benefits and the emotional connection. Plus, it gives us marketing tags that we can utilize. Why? Because customers do not buy products because of, I don't know, tech features, right? They are really interested in what they get from it, like the benefit. Nobody cares about how many decibels my earpods block specifically. I want to make sure that I don't hear my kid going crazy in the room next door, right? So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you connect your shoppers from an emotional standpoint, because that's what ultimately drives the conversion.
All
All
right.
right. I
Yes, you
think
will get the bot also. And this is part of the whole stack of bots that you will be getting.
Awesome. Well, Wanda, thanks for coming on and sharing today. This has been great. And like Abe said, and like Max said, these are getting to have access for 10 hours to you and showing all this stuff for $200 is ridiculously cheap. And I agree. So if you want to sign up, the link is in the chat, or if you can screenshot the page or scan that QR code. And this will all start on Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern.